Do you have all 6 tips or no?
Yes, yeah, I do. I'm gonna set it in. Hey, all. This is our very first live in the women's corner. Let's talk about a corner. I don't even know how this room. Well, actually, I guess we can see how many people are signed in, and it doesn't even matter about that. We wanted to bring something new, which is first and foremost our faces. You get to see the face behind the voices and really get this conversation going and going. There's Crystal. So now we have to actually put on our face, put on our tops. Not sure what's going on downstairs, but we are here and we are super excited to start bringing to you all this amazing live opportunity in the Women's Let's Talk About It corner. Now, if you haven't as yet, please share this live out to your feed because this is how more people are able to find out about our new lives that are happening. Now we are still testing it out. We're going to see if we're going to be doing it every other week, ladies, or every week. We don't know. It's not about, remember last week with Barry and I, it's not about being perfect. It's just getting started.
Showing up.
Yeah, showing up too as well. So again, if you are here, would love to know, just put a 1 in the chat. We're just testing all of this out. I'm going to make sure that I can see us on
Oh, I can see
online.
us. I'm watching us here.
Awesome. That's cool.
Great. Ladies, Camille, I love this topic that you brought up for today. I think knowing your value, your self-worth seems like such a simple thing to do, ladies, but I don't know about you, but it can be difficult sometimes. And I think as we get older, it gets easier. But let's be honest, sometimes knowing your own worth, knowing your own values, what you bring to the table so you can pull up your own seat of the table is actually a lot more difficult than it sounds. And I've realized that even more in entrepreneurship, right? Like I feel like it's been amplified in entrepreneurship. You have skills. You have a damn good resume that you can pull out and you have worth. I mean, for goodness sakes, I'm in my 40s now, right? I have 40 years of resume building experience. But why don't we pull that out? Why don't we just know it off the top of the cuff? And why don't we speak it out loud and bring it to the table? So I love what you brought up today, Camille. I love this topic that you thought of for today. I know we're going to have really great conversation because I know we're not alone in feeling that way. And so I'm excited to hear, Mary, your tips about this. Camille, your tips that you're bringing to the table that we're going to share with the community today. So I don't know, ladies, is it just me or does knowing your own worth sometimes seem difficult?
Well, Mary, I'll let you go on. Well, you know what we forgot to do. I think we forgot to announce who we are.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, we have about 5 people watching us now.
Oh, that's awesome. Can I just do a little quick disclaimer for everybody watching? Again, this is our first time doing this, so please have patience with us. We want a lot of engagement in the comments, but we also just figured out that we can't really engage without looking down on the phone. So what we're going to do is we're going to just randomly every a little while just check the comments. So please engage in there, and if you have any questions or anything to add, put it in there because we will address it. But no, if we're looking down, it's because we're learning how to do the comments, as well as we're just learning how to get started. But again, we're doing it because we need to bring this to this community. All right, Mary, just wanted to say that little disclaimer. So just love us.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thank you for that. And everybody, if you're watching now, I have no idea what's about to happen, but we got some good stuff coming. So me personally, just so you know, normally we do these events on audio only, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're going to go live on camera. So that meant setting everything up here for me because my Wi-Fi is not reaching my office. So that meant moving everything here and then putting my face on, because normally when we do the audio rooms, I'm just wearing a hat and I'm in my comfy sweats, but now I'm going to, trying to look a little professional. So we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. And this topic is very important because as women, we do feel like sometimes we're not enough and we don't understand our own value, which as entrepreneurs leads us to not charging what we are worth. And what you think you are worth, I had somebody say this to me, you need to double it.
Mm.
So my name is Mary Massey. I guess I'll introduce myself first. I'm a personal growth strategist and also a social media coach. I help my ladies with finding that harmony between all the things that they have going on in their life, their lifestyle, the way that they feel about their mental health, their fitness, their nutrition, and also setting themselves up properly and having a good foundation for their social media and their overall online presence. I do this via my programs, my retreat, and also my podcast, Get Intentional with Mary. So, with that being said, I'm here in New Jersey and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So, Camille, I'll pass it back to you so that you can introduce yourself, and then Crystal, and then we're going to get going with our tips.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. You know what I love about this is that we have such a union and a sisterhood, and we're literally located in all different areas. But I feel like these are my sisters all the time, and we get to see our faces this time. Woohoo. But it's so much fun. I'm really excited about this transition that we're doing, and really excited to get into this conversation. And this is why I thought on Sunday, this past Sunday, I was just like, I feel like I challenge my own self on my own value. You know what? Let's talk about it. Let's bring this to the corner. And better yet, let's challenge ourselves and just do it live. So that's how this came out, is of knowing our own worth. And it also goes on what I do. So if you don't know me yet, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Camille Jones, and I am the founder of We Got This Mind and Body, where I encourage your busy women in business to truly learn to prioritize living a healthier lifestyle through key areas of wellness, such as your mindset, movement, metabolism, and maintenance. And it's all without excessive workouts and fad diets, and truly regaining back that confidence, the energy, and of course, proving to yourself that you have the time to work on you, mind, body, and soul, loving the skin that you're in. I do that with my customizable programs. And I also am the program director in the Mom Link, which is the most phenomenal growing supporting women in business, growing community. You're going to hear more about that as we go on to this conversation, because it was truly looking at both my businesses and my roles within the community that made me say, let's take some inventory on our worth and in our value, and as a business and as a mompreneur, womanpreneur in business as a whole. So brought it to my ladies, my sisters. What a great space to do this. And our first test run, you want to make sure that you stay tuned with us, because we are going to be going in the future with some guests, and you want to be that guest. Let's go. So going to drop it down to our amazing sister, Miss Crystal, who's going to be introducing herself. And how about, Crystal, you're going to start off with the kickoff, girlfriend, with your tips or whatever you have in terms of your experiences. So dropping it down to you.
I love it. I'm grabbing the mic from you. Okay, that was awkward. But I love it. That's what we're here for. You know what, Camille? I love that you literally sent us the link this morning and said, FYI, get your game on. We're going live. And that kind of push, that is
I'm an accountability coach.
Oh my goodness. That's what every woman needs, right, ladies? And so I'm here for it. I'm all about it. I may still have my sweats on the bottom, and I'm a little business on top. But I mean, there are some perks about being an entrepreneur working from home, and that is definitely one of them. So my name is Crystal Almeida. I'm the CEO and founder of the Mom Link, and absolutely incredible community for female entrepreneurs to connect, collaborate, and I mean, quite frankly, kick open your own doors of opportunity to build yourself a sustainable and successful business. And the community, as a whole, is really just meant to make entrepreneurship not so lonely and to make it a little bit of an easier ride. And just to lead into the conversation today, when you do not know your value, when you do not know your worth, when you question your own skills, you've got a community of women who are going to remind you how badass you are, how powerful you are, how incredible you are, whether it's in motherhood, in your personal life, or in your business journey. So I just want to jump right into this conversation today. I brought with me two of my own personal tips. My own personal tips on how you can prioritize knowing your value and your worth, because I too have struggled with it. And I think these are the two of the biggest lessons that I've learned recently as a new entrepreneur. So my first tip, I am I'd have to say, an obsessive validation seeker. I am recovering from obsessive validation seeking. And I guess the one tip that I have learned about myself, and it took me almost 40 years to learn this, is you need to give yourself your own unique set of value system.
Mhm.
I think I went around life like asking for validation to make sure like I'm a good person, right? I'm doing good work, right? I'm being a great mother, right? Like I'm always seeking this validation. And when you seek validation, it destroys that resume that you should be pulling out. It destroys what value you have about yourself. Instead of celebrating it, you're actually questioning other people. And who knows if you're valuable or not except yourself? Because nobody is going to protect you or fight for you or go to bat for you like yourself.
That part. That part.
And I think when we create our own standards, our own expectations, our own set of values of what makes us valuable, then that's what we live by. And we're always going to feel valuable because we're always going to make the right decisions for ourselves. However, it takes courage, right? And agree with me or not, but it takes courage in every aspect of life. Running a business, being a good mom, being successful, being rich, like all of that takes courage. And I think when we embrace our values, our skills, our worth, what we bring to the table, that courage is that much stronger because you know your worth, you know your value. So my first tip that I want to share is be careful with seeking validation from others. And if you do that, and if you're like me, the way to stop that is really write down your own unique set of value system and what makes you valuable and live by that. And have courage and enhance your courage to do the things that you want to do and build the business of your dreams and chase your dreams. Have courage through believing and knowing your own set of skill set and value you bring to the table and to the world. So I hope that tip was helpful, ladies. That's been a painful journey for me, but I know validation. I think we all seek validation more than we should. So
Yeah, but Chris, I have a question for you. So yes, the best part of us in this community is that we're all getting to know each other on deeper levels. So I actually can understand what you are talking about. Now, what has it been for you being a part of the business that you are establishing with this community? How has that assisted you in even understanding or having that self-awareness of this validation syndrome that you have? How has being a part of this community and what you've created, really, turned something that once felt like a weight, and now it seems like you've converted it into something that, is good, not only helping yourself, but others?
Camille, I love that you asked this question because you ladies, this community amplified my special gifts that I bring to the world. I'm a community builder. I've always been a community builder. I worked in nonprofit for 18 years. That's what I did. I built community. I mobilized people to care about something larger than ourselves. And I brought that to the Mom Link. And every time that I've seeked validation now, I'm seeking it. I actually reach out to like-minded female entrepreneurs who see my gift, who've been inspired by my gift and remind me like, Crystal, you have something special. You know how to bring people together. And that's amplified that skill set for me. And now it's given me that fire, that passion. So I no longer like that validation and the community. It's actually a healthy type of validation, right? It's people who actually see your special gifts and allow you to embrace it. So I love that you asked that about community.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to add to it too, and saying that the people not only add or remind you or keep you in line with all that you desire, but they're doing it with a genuine heart. They're doing it with your own authentic touch because we know you. It's not like as if you're just calling a 1-800 number, I need advice. You're actually getting it from people that genuinely want to see the best interest in you, see you elevate. And that's what I see in a community, because you can get advice from anybody and anywhere, but is it genuine? And do they understand you? And are they going to say, you know what, you got this, and really mean it? And that's what, to me, what you just said right there, how we are navigating our own past traumas that we didn't even know that we're holding, and realizing that we are building our worth by speaking up.
Have
And I just
have
wanted
you
to say that.
ladies, okay, raise your hand right now on the count of 3. Okay, we'll do it together.
Okay,
Have you
let's do
ever
it.
seeked validation who was from somebody that was playing big and you were actually playing small, and you were seeking validation from like somebody who you thought was here but really wasn't there? Like, I'm gonna raise my hand.
If
Mhm.
if I was flexible enough to put my feet up at the same time to touch my hands, I'd be doing that right now. But right now, underneath my table with all my toes standing up
Oh, I
and
can't do
fingers.
that. I'm not even flexible enough to do
Oh my gosh, look at
You
you.
know what? I'm the one that does fitness, and I can barely even.
Oh gosh, that's
No,
another tip, right? Don't
that's
play
so true.
small for others to play big. Like, play big,
Yeah.
play big, play big, play big, or go home.
Mary,
What's
going
up?
to you, girlfriend. Oh, first and
Yeah.
foremost, if you are loving this conversation, we can't see anything or anyone, so would love to see some engagement happening into the comments here in the chat. And if you're looking at the replay, still chat it up, because we're gonna come back and talk it up to you in the chat, in the comments. So definitely want to get that some kind of engagement going on in there. But let's throw it up to Miss Mary.
Yeah, so are we still talking about validation, or are we moving on? Because man,
We
that,
are just we
whew,
are
that's a
flowing.
big
We're
one.
vibing. We're vibing. If you want to add to it about that part there with the validation, add to it, girlfriend. If you want to say,
Yeah,
girlfriend, you know
yeah,
me, Camille, be quiet and let me get on track. Do that.
yeah. I love your hair, by the way. It looks good.
Thanks.
Totally worth the
My
time.
4 o'clock in the morning appointment. Yeah.
Because this I mean, I'm not even going to go into that, but um and yeah, the validation piece is very important, because as kids there are times, of course, when we want to please our parents, we want to please our teachers, and this is why it's so important to be super aware of how we are for our kids. If we are the type of women who are seeking validation, it means that we are not fully aware of our strengths and our skill set, so we look to others to give us that validation, to tell us that we are doing well, because we don't trust ourselves enough yet. And if we are this way, it can trickle down to our kids as well. And we were on Breakfast with Champions, I think, this morning, and I mentioned that the kids will always do what they see, not what we say. So if you're the type of person, right, who's driving on the highway and somebody cuts you off and you're like up in, arms up in the air and you're cursing up a storm, the kid's going to be like looking at you like, okay, so that's the behavior that I need to model. This is how I need to be. So for me, it's become very important to be extremely self-aware so that I don't pass these things on to my kids. Being super shy, like I hate being called shy. And I would label myself that because I was labeled as shy as a kid. Being very, very insecure about the way that I look, the way that I spoke, my skill set and everything, and not understanding my worth. So what Crystal said before was very important. Understanding your skill set. When you look at your resume and you list every little thing that you do, every little thing that you're good at, that's like your, what do you call it? Your, what's the word I'm looking for? I forgot.
It's your your guidance.
It's like the evidence that you are good
Yeah.
at something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have made it through 18 years in the nonprofit world, building communities and all of
You
that.
know
If
what
you
it
didn't
is? It's your own written validation. It's like your own
Credentials.
resume, credentials
credentials, thank
for
you.
yourself. And
Yeah.
that's what I see journals as too, right?
Yeah.
Like journals to me, so many times when I'm feeling like I'm being challenged, most of the time it's myself challenging myself. I
Yep.
go back to my own wording and say, "Oh shoot, Camille, you huh? That's you,
Yeah.
and you have a time to say this about you right now, girl."
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. That was a good one.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Camille, is that we write down all these things that we love about ourselves or whatever, and sometimes we ask people, okay, what do you think I'm good at? And we neglect to see the things that we wrote about ourselves, right? So we go by what they're saying about us. So really focus on that, like really accept your gifts. And I had a mentor tell me years ago when I was going through all of these things and not understanding where my purpose was or where I was going. It's like, girlfriend, she said it to me this way: girlfriend, you need to accept your gifts. All right. And that I always remember that. So whenever I feel a little bit insecure, I'm like, okay, I do have a gift. I do make an impact, and just understanding that about yourself. So I think it's important to talk about it.
I love that. And I love what you said, that last little part there, because that it actually amplifies what I was talking about with diversity and wellness is a lot of us, we focus on the one thing that we feel is a flaw on ourselves, right? When in actuality, if we start focusing on the positive things or the things that we absolutely love about ourselves, that's where our attention goes and that's where our energy flows.
That's
And
right.
it does redirect our whole mindset. Because I could go, I'll be on, you know me, I keep it real with my peeps all the time. When I'm looking in at the video right now, all I see are these lines, and then I instantly that limiting belief or that lack of worth or value starts to go in. But now I've also trained the other. I always do like this two sides of my brain. The other side of me says, "But Camille, look at those sexy eyes above that. Oh,
Yeah,
honey, child." And
totally.
now I'm now, you know where my focus is right now? Just for besides that split second just now, all I keep on looking at how gosh, my girl did a great job on my lashes. I'm just loving me. It's crazy the things that we going through our minds, even when we are looking the most confident and feeling that way. And that's why I love these open conversations that we have, because there's so much that people don't realize happens within us internally that we have to navigate through
Mhm.
just to even be here and show up in our authentic self. And that
Mhm.
also goes on to what you both were saying with the whole the validation as well as, you know, amplifying your own gifts. It's like what leads me to my tip. And my tip is truly to come out of your comfort zone and show up in spaces and places that you've never even had, you know, you've always dreamed of. If you've dreamt it, that means you're supposed to be there. If
Mhm.
it's something a burning desire, don't allow those limiting beliefs or feeling like as if you're undervalued because you know you're just starting out.
Mhm.
I'm 40, almost two. I own it because I love it. I'm not even gonna lie. Almost 42 years old, and I've only been in the wellness industry. And I see. Let me change that. See how I use the word only? Forget about only. I'm in the wellness industry now for about 3 years, and I have had the opportunity to be in places where there's people there for 30, 40, 50 years. And before I would stand in the corner. And one day I said, no, how am I supposed to be that expert if I am not standing in the dragon's den? If I haven't heard the roar, what's going to happen when I do get that success when it comes? I'm not going to be able to handle it. So let me put myself in that dragon's den. And I'll tell you all, from putting myself in this dragon's den, this woman of 42 young age who just started 3 years ago, has been asked to speak on top stages here in Toronto just because I spoke up.
Yeah.
I spoke my value because my value is unique to me, and it's just by showing up. So I
Mhm.
want to say as another tip is to show up and just put yourself in places and spaces that you would have never anticipated, because I'm telling you, you know you're supposed to be there because that energy and everybody's going to just come gravitate right to you. It's going to flow to you. And so I just wanted to share that because that was another value. So
Yeah, it's a gift that you have, Camille. You have this gift, and you've been suppressing it for a long time.
yes,
And yes,
and you
that's
know
what it
what?
is.
That's thank you. See, this is why I love you, Mary, because you keep me on track. Because that wasn't really my point that I just said. To be honest with you, tip was just made up.
Oh my
To be
goodness, Camille, you kill me. That was
dead
amazing.
serious, I'm keeping it real. Like totally, that was not. Mary reels me in. Crystal slaps me. It's for real though, and this is what's great about having the community, because I know we all know that we're all great, but sometimes we become our biggest, you know,
Yeah,
barricade and resistance.
definitely
And
better together. You know,
it
you
is.
can't. You
It
need
is.
to. You need a great foundation.
It
We're
is.
better together.
100%. And that's what my point was, is to say to go into come out of your space and places, because I'll tell you all something. I used to be very shy and nervous to speak. I stuttered a lot when I spoke live or when I had to do anything like this. But because I've been supported, I've been another part of the value is going into places where you're supported, where you have that accountability to show up, just like I did to these ladies. We're doing a live, by the way, in 5 minutes. Let's go. It's about doing that stuff has really reminded me about my hidden
Hmm.
passion, which is speaking. I didn't even know I would love speaking until I started showing up into these spaces and places. That's what I was trying to say.
You know
Yeah.
what, though, Camille? Listen, you know what you said is like it's a perfect segue. Here's my another. Okay, so tip number 3: bet on you.
Mm.
Okay, bet on you. So a way to know and to increase your self-worth and your value and to really know your self-worth is bet on you. Bet on you in business, bet on you in life, and bet on you in every single aspect. And I say this, and I want to bring two really like personal examples on betting on you. Two times I didn't bet on me, and I was betting on others, and I wasn't putting value on my own self-worth, and I had the skills to do it, or that I had any self-worth. Okay, so let's start with motherhood. Before I became a mom, so I talked about 18-year career in nonprofit. I chose the nonprofit, like it literally gave me purpose. It gave me life. It gave me fire. I really believed I was going to change the world from a young activist. And then I jumped into motherhood, and I was like, oh, this is it. I'm worthy. Like I have worth now. It wasn't the nonprofit sector in my 18-year career. Forget that. Now I feel even more valuable in this world. Motherhood made me feel valuable. Motherhood made me feel valuable. My kids made me feel worthy. Now I have purpose. I'm a mom. These two little things, like human beings think I'm their queen, think I'm the most valuable. I feel worthy. I didn't feel worthy because of myself. I felt worthy because of these two kids who gave me worth. I know, right? It's intense. I felt like I had purpose and identity because of motherhood. And it was such a great feeling, ladies. Like it's incredible. And then all of a sudden, something happened. And I didn't feel as worthy. I didn't feel as valuable. And I went seeking again. And I used to cry. And I used to say in the beginning, before MomLink even existed, I'm like, I just want that old activist Crystal back. Like, I want her back. Like, she felt so valuable. But yet I replaced her. And I threw her to the curb when motherhood came. I was like, that's not what made me worthy. This is what made me worthy. And now I don't know what makes me worthy anymore. I love being a mom. Didn't know what it was. I wanted activist Crystals back because I knew maybe that would make me feel worthy and valuable again, because I was paying it forward, doing nonprofit work, helping others, making the world a better place. Again, something tangible that made me feel worthy and valuable. Then I found the MomLink and I founded this incredible community. I brought the activist Crystal back. I feel worthy again. I'm paying it forward. I'm helping women. I'm building community for all of us. I felt worthy again. MomLink exploded. We invested in things. We got the help. We got support. We, did the things. And I'm like, okay, we just need to go and find that next investment, that person, that coach, that's something that's going to blow up the MomLink and make it so valuable. Again, I wasn't bringing my own self-worth and value to the table. I was looking for something else. I wasn't betting on me. I've always bet on everything else in life. I bet on my kids to make me feel valuable. I bet on the nonprofit sector to pay it forward and do charitable work to make me feel worthy. I'm betting on the next person or the private investor who's going to come my way and invest all this, and blow up the MomLink and make it this like world impacting movement. I'm betting on everything else and everybody else. And I've never bet on me. And I'm finally at the point where I'm betting on me. And I need to start betting on me, because that's the only thing that's ever worked. The only thing that ever made me a good mother was me. It wasn't actually my kids. It was me.
Right.
It was me doing the work. And I think the same applies in business. Bet on you, because the only person who's going to make your business succeed, be a great mother, is you, and betting on you and doing the work. I know that was a little bit of a runoff there, but.
No, but that's beautiful, Crystal, because this goes into identity and how we always seek for that external validation again, and for others to define our identity. But again, the common denominator is you. You are the common denominator. And if I were to ask you, or if anybody were to ask you, who are you, Crystal? Like, who are you at your core? And that goes for everybody who's watching. Like, who are you really? Are you a manager? Are you a mom? Are you a wife? Are you a homemaker? Are you adventurous? Are you driven? Are you a people connector? Who are you? Because we cannot be defined by all of these external labels, but by what drives us, by what drives our hearts. The reason why the kids see you as their queen, is because you are amazing at what you do, because you have this amazing, passionate heart, and you bring that to every single thing that you do, whether you're in the nonprofit sector or whether you're working with the MomLink. It's your vibrancy that comes through with everything. So, but it takes a little while to get there. You know, I have a
Mhm.
few more years on you ladies. I'm going to be 49 soon next month. Please come to my birthday party.
I'm ready to party with me.
Mary,
Don't threaten me with a good
adore
time.
you. I
Right?
totally
And
you
next
said
year's
that,
the
and I'm
big
like,
one.
I'm coming. I'm coming to New
You know,
Jersey.
and it
Please
wasn't
come.
until I mentioned this before, it wasn't until I turned 40 that I finally looked at myself and I'm like, you know what? You do have stuff, man. You are good at what you do. You do have a voice. But it wasn't until I met you two that that voice was actually amplified, where I finally said to myself, you know what? I know a lot and I can bring a lot of value to this community. And I made it my mission to do that. It's not my only mission, but I'm also living in my purpose because
Mm.
now I'm really living in my gifts and being able to share all that with you ladies. And it's because of you that I do speak up now, that I do show up more confidently and more intentionally. And that brings me to also, you know, setting the right boundaries, because
Mhm.
that's also
Mhm.
a great tip for everybody who needs to understand their identity first. You understand your identity, who you are. You're not defined by everybody else around you, but by who you are at your core. And then once you know that, now you can set up proper boundaries with everyone around you and also within yourself. And you understand your value more. So you're like, wait a minute, this is all I am willing to do right now because I want to, right? This is what I'm not willing to do because I just don't want to. If you want to be busy just looking out the window, you're busy looking out the window. You don't have to give anybody any explanation as to why you can't show up to this thing or that thing. You know,
Exactly.
so being more intentional with our time means setting proper boundaries because we love and honor ourselves, and we don't have to explain or validate or prove anything to anyone.
Absolutely. And you know what about that too, and where I really have been able to engulf this, because one of my past traumas I still deal with is feeling like a burden. Believe it or not, Camille feels like a bird. Like, you know, that's how I've always felt. And I always loved to talk, but I was told, "Oh, Camille, you talk too much." And so I would not talk as much, or I would make the conversation about whatever that person wanted to hear.
Mhm.
Right. So for myself, which goes to another point, it's actually the same point of what Mary was saying, is the power of speaking up, is don't be afraid to be an advocate for yourself.
Mhm.
Don't feel as if you deserve to, oh, that you owe anybody any explanation of who you are. But you also need to be able to do that by using your gift, which is your voice, asserting yourself confidently and clearly, and really communicate your value. And it really does go down to
Mhm.
your voice and that confidence. And know that your voice does matter. There's no such thing as speaking too much, especially if it's speaking from the heart. And if it is too much for that person, that's okay. There's 8 billion people in this world, right? And that's one thing that I've learned, is that, you know, I could be a burden to some, but I'm a blessing to many. And that's why I've really changed my perspective. Because I tell you, again, ladies, you would never believe it. With me, I would just keep everything silent. And my mental health, when it comes to my mental health, that's why I'm in wellness. It was the day that I was tired of staying quiet and they were just pumping me with different drugs. And I said, I opened up my eyes. I'll never forget. I think I was about 19 or 20 years old. And I just opened up my eyes and I said, I'm going to talk about it. This is in the 90s. And I
Mhm.
remember mental health was a cliche. You know, drink some tea and have some Vicks and you have no reason to be, you don't pay no bills, so be quiet. I decided that day to speak up. And I walked around and said, "Hi, my name is Camille, and I battle anxiety and depression." And once I started speaking up and using my voice, I started having my own self awareness of who I am and what I allow and how powerful.
Yeah.
This was the medicine that Camille needed. There was so much bottled up in me that I was turning into like like this person, because I was faking it.
Mhm.
So that's another thing, is your value is knowing that your worth is unique to you and your voice is powerful. And know that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect every time you show up, but just show up. I'm going to give you a key example of something here right now, ladies. I guess you guys didn't even notice. See, so many of us are always so worried about how showing up and being perfect, making sure that our makeup's good, or this is good, we have the right lighting. Look at our lights all over the place. But believe it or not, most of the time, the things that we worry about, nobody's even paying attention to or even notices.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example right now. Read the title of this room. Read it. Tell me if it's perfect.
No, it's not.
Exactly. I just saw it.
I just saw it too, and I'm the queen of typos. So for me to know what it is, it's like, okay, yeah, it's
Okay,
there.
I found it. I just found
But
it.
yeah, exactly. That's my point. See, a prime point, case in point. Total misspell in the title. Not one person has messaged me.
Didn't I tell you
Nobody's
earlier,
not even found
Camille?
anybody here.
Weren't we talking about this earlier? It takes four of our brains sometimes to make a solid brain. So we needed about 3 more brains to
Yeah.
finally, because I sent Camille the newsletter. I'm like, I need to see, because now like I make so many typos and I need a second pair of eyes, and I begin to mistrust myself a little bit. But this is no big deal.
You just roll with it. And most of the time, the things that we are like, oh my gosh, nobody even noticed. All that energy. So this is why, again, this is why I have this at my desk right behind me too. The only person who has to believe in you is you. Once you have that core belief of your own greatness unapologetically, and when I say that, please know that I also know that there's going to be times where I'm going to fall down that rabbit's hole. So I give myself grace.
Yeah.
Always in between there. And how I give myself grace is I told Crystal today, I have people that I call strategic that are in my life that help me on these times where I know I'm slipping back. And that comes through me understanding my own self-awareness. So I know my triggers. For instance, I have to call Crystal every time I see something shiny. Literally. Every time I see something shiny, I'm like, I gotta buy. Crystal's like, but why do you need that? Why do you need braces when your teeth are straight, Camille? I don't know, because it's shiny. That's me. And then if I need to understand what this is going on my anything to do with social media, or before I buy something that doesn't even make sense, let me tell you something. Mary saved me tons of money telling me about what ChatGPT was before me and my nincompoop self just bought the next shiny corner. Mary's like, girl, come on the Zoom. So this is what I just wanted to say, that it's just power in having that outsource and that outlet. And that's what I know where this women's corner is not about Moms Lincoln. We're not here to promote it like that. But what we're doing is we're really showing you that it's not just about connection and collaborations, what our community brings. It's also about that support of reminding us of our value, understanding whether we have children or not, that we as women go through our highs and our lows. And what Crystal said earlier in our room is, just as many times as there's highs, there's going to be many lows. And you know what? I'm so blessed and honored that when I go through my highs and my lows, I got my girls right behind me, beside me, and in front of me. It's so much more powerful. And this is why we do what we do. So I just had to put that in there and tell you, all you ladies, and even everybody that always comes into our rooms, just know that your presence does not go unnoticed. Your presence fuels our fire. Your presence also validates to yourself that you're also seeing growth in you. I want to say that it's not validating us. When you show up for yourself, when you show up in other spaces and places, you're actually showing up for yourself.
Yep.
So celebrate that.
That's right.
Now, if you're rocking, I don't know, you can't tell, but I don't even know if my comments can. But if you have any questions, I love what Heather had said, a great one about identity. Because we as women, not even just as mother, as women,
Yeah.
we go through different phases of identity. And yes, nobody told us in our little mom to be books that we lose a portion of our identity when we become moms, right?
No.
Because we're just so in bliss.
Camille, no. Society told us your own identity
Oh,
and
that's
your
true.
value and your worth comes from. Can you imagine, like today? I'm Portuguese, and culturally, it happens a lot in the Portuguese culture, and I'm sure a lot of cultures where the value and worth is. I don't get told like, "Wow, Crystal, you put on makeup and did your hair today. Like, good for you. Like, that's awesome." The questions come more like, or the statements come more like, "Oh, wow, your kids look really good. Oh, wow, your kids are, they look well fed." Or, "Oh, wow, your kids are really well behaved," right? Like, great. So your worth as a mother, society actually instills that in you. Like, you get value because you're a good mother. You get value because you're
so your value is readjusted and changed. But you know what? Let's take it one step further. Look at when we go away, especially if we're not with your kids, especially women. Okay, we're all married. All 3 of us are actually married, and we kind of sort of actually do like our husbands. So it's not like we're having any like that kind of situations. We actually do like them. But as women and as moms, how many people, when you say to them, "Oh, I'm going on a seminar," or "I'm going," oh, my camera's doing something weird. oh, I'm doing this, I'm going there. The first thing someone goes to me, oh, so where are the kids going to be?
Yep.
Oh, what's happening with the kids? When my husband says he's going somewhere, they're like, bye, have fun. Huh?
Yep.
So now all of a sudden, what about it's like how, so should I feel guilty? Now they put this whole guilt trip on us. And that also challenges our value. Like, am I being selfish by doing this? Am I being you know what I mean? So that was a good one too, Crystal, because that just reminded me of that part
Yeah,
too.
I got to tell you a story, because this is like, we hear all of these things, but we don't have to listen. You know what I mean? We can hear, we don't have to listen. And I remember this one time, because I go away alone all the time. Retreats, girls trips, no problem. My husband knows that when I need to go, I go, right? And I remember this one time I came back to the gym after taking a few days off from teaching and going away. She says to me, "Oh, who's stayed home with the kids?" Because my son was younger. And I said, "My husband." He goes, "Oh, he was babysitting?" I'm like,
Oh,
"No, that's your dad." Like, okay, when,
their
lady,
dad.
okay, really, like, your husband's the baby, your baby daddy don't babysit. Baby daddy, baby daddy.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's one of my
Seriously.
biggest. Do you see my face? You see my face? That's a triggering. I hate
Yeah, so
that
I
because
told him,
that's
I'm
what
like,
we get.
"No."
Oh, he's
My
babysitting.
husband
What?
knows. He takes off. I remember when Sebastian was born, he was 4 months old, and it was time for me to go to the big Zumba convention in Orlando. I had to take my pump with me. I couldn't, I had to pump and throw, because you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was,
pump and dump. Pump
but
and
he
dump.
was 4 months old and I took off. And the thing is that I didn't have to worry about a thing, because, listen, you don't have to train your husband to do anything, okay? When your husband, truly your partner, whatever, really wants to support you, they will take the reins. They are equally responsible for the child rearing, for the meal prepping and everything. Excuse me, guys, mommy's talking, okay? So you have to make sure that you have that equal partnership and that the expectations are there on both sides. So if nothing else, please understand that.
Ooh, Mary, healthy relationships contribute to knowing your self-value and your worth. And you hit a thing on breastfeeding. Okay, so I want to go back. I said Portuguese culture. I think just society, women, the gender culture there, it has nothing to do with being Portuguese. Portuguese, sure, a little bit culturally more pushing, like, what the motherhood role looks like. And there's no flexibility. It's very old school and traditional is what I meant to say. But when you said the breastfeeding thing, Mary, oh my gosh, even when it comes down to producing milk, we are either worthy or unworthy. If you can't produce milk, or if you didn't breastfeed, or that's all the milk you pumped. Do you know how many times I heard that line? I was I loved breastfeeding by the second child. I actually got a kick off of like freezing milk. I'd be like, why did I get a kick out of freezing milk? Does anybody know this about my personality? Because I'm somebody who wants the validation of like, look, I froze a whole supply, a whole stash. Aren't you proud, world? Well, am I not a good mom? I can produce milk. It's crazy.
It is.
That is how women and moms go through life. We're always measured to this worth of parenting, being a good cook, making a home fresh meal, like, home cooked meals. Like, we can go on and on and on in a tangent. And it's crazy how like our worth, it's not your fault if you've ever doubted your own self-worth and your own values. It's really society's fault. So you suck, society. Here you go. It belongs back to you.
That's why I like our common unity, because we just stay in our community and we're good, right? We have all this. We don't, whenever I tell my ladies I'm going somewhere, the first thing that they say is, "Oh, good for you," in a nice way. The first thing, "Good for you, man." Like the other day, Crystal called me to talk to me about business, and she got a little bit of slur words. And she's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm at the bar. I'm having a great time. I'm 3 margaritas." She's like, "Good for you."
Yeah.
And guess what? It was a Monday. Right?
Oh my goodness.
But it's so true. Now let's even get this one step further, ladies, because we're talking even in losing our identity as, or feeling our identity is challenged, our value as mothers. But now let's put it into business, because business is another form of things that we have to nurture, and we're also constantly being judged.
Yeah.
And are we keeping up with the Joneses? Because remember, how dare we complain because women spent XYZ years to get us to where we are, so we better take it and love it. That's what I heard growing up. And then, but that also challenged me. So I would love to hear, like, for you all, did you feel that same from a validation that happened even if you were like when you went back to work, or even if you have tried to go back to work? Has that been a challenge to you, like where you feel like your worth is being challenged?
I think entrepreneurship for me personally, the biggest like lesson I've learned. Oh my God, there's so many lessons. Not the biggest one. I'm lying. That's a total freaking lie. There's lots of lessons to be learned, but one of the lessons that you learn painfully is you go around assuming everybody's successful.
Mm.
You go around assuming, oh, she's so confident. How can I be more that way, right? And then you meet each other, and you're like, oh, you were scared to like do that live, or oh, you were sweating. Oh my goodness, you were freaking out. Like, I think we go around putting everybody on these pedestals
Yeah.
and leaving ourselves down here because we are in these shoes that are so big. Because I've never been an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to build a business. Like, tell me how to build community. I got you. But tell me, like, how to be a multi-million-dollar company. I'm still figuring that out. I'm still working that out. And so the shoes I'm wearing are really big. And so everybody who I'm assuming and looking at that they have the Cinderella glass slipper on and it fits them perfectly, it's just a facade. And not to say people aren't successful. Of course, there's successful people out there that we can see and clearly successful. But I think we're just putting everybody else on a pedestal because we don't value ourselves and our self-worth. And we're not valuing the moment that we're in. And we're not valuing the process that we're in, because there is no success without process. You need to go through the process, and you need to go through the process that will test you, that will try you, will try to break you in half. But just know that everybody else you've put on a pedestal, they're either going through it with you, you're just making the assumption that they're not, or they've already been through it. So give yourself some value and put yourself on the highest pedestal, actually. Put yourself above everybody else, and don't assume anybody is on a higher seat than you. Make yourself a throne, sit on that throne. And we did this exercise in a Mom Link masterclass. Latoya came and taught us how to, I've never done Reiki exercise. And so it was like getting rid of some stuff so you can make some space for some good stuff. And she did this thing with sitting on a throne. And you know what I did? Again, speaks to, our self-worth. I made a throne. I envisioned the throne in my head to be this really big, comfy couch with everybody from the Mom Link. And then my mom will be on that couch, and all these people were going to be on the couch. And I thought I was doing a really good thing. Because again, I'm just not seeking my own worth. My worth is coming from giving to others, or my worth is coming from including. It was nuts. Anyways, what I say by that is make your own throne. Make sure you put yourself at the top.
Yeah.
And let everybody else prove to you that they're on the pedestal that you gave them, and they deserve to be there in your brain.
You know what? You nailed it so hard, because a lot of us, again, it's the whole big, you see the glory, but you're not seeing my story. And I feel that it's not even that people aren't successful. It's not even just that. It's the assumptions that we, the viewers, are making based on their presentation, based on their confidence, based on the way that they're showing up. But yes, when the cameras go off, they could be going through their motions in the ocean. But if we, as the viewers, are taking it and computerizing, I can't think of that word.
I like that word though. Say it again.
But you know what I meant though, right?
I love it.
Computerizing. Come on, people. You know, I can't
Compartmentalizing. Is that what you're?
That's the word. I think you were trying to teach me that word the other. I can't say it.
I adore that.
Love me,
You gotta define what success really means. So, like, what does success mean to you? Because when you're looking at people on social media, you see the big house and that, but in reality, a lot of these people, and trust me, I know because I've seen people failing marriages. Kids with anxiety and stress and depression and all of that, kids in therapy, kids on suicide watch. The parents are not getting along well. Yeah, okay, they take the nice picture and they pose and they have the nice cars and all of that, but what good is all of that when you're falling apart on the inside? So defining what success means to you is going to help tremendously. And for me, success is about community. It's about the impact that I make with my voice. Yeah, the money's good, when it comes, but I got to tell you, there have been some times when I have talked to some clients and they tell me, Mary, I'm doing this and this and this, but I can't pay my rent. and I've been on the same boat
Yep.
where I have put so much work into things. And yeah, on social media, I'm giving all the tips and everything, but there are times when I'm like, okay, it's been 3 months without a client and I see the money dwindling,
Yeah.
right? So you can't look at that
Mm.
and think that that is 100% real. You can take it as it comes, but also understanding that the people that you're following, if you know that they're genuine, they're not going to BS you. They're not going to say to you, okay, look at all the things that I have, when they're falling apart on the inside. So just be very mindful of what success means. For some people, it's all about the money. For other people, it's about the impact and the legacy that they want to leave.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And
goodness. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, no. I was just gonna say
Okay, I
that
was
that just leads to even being around great people and having the mentorship, and knowing that mentorship doesn't mean you have to buy the biggest ticket mentor. Your mentor could come to us in so many different ways, in so many diverse ways. It doesn't come with a dollar sign. It does come with that feeling, and that's where that's my GPS, and what I've learned on this thing called life is to truly navigate my life through my feelings, accepting those feelings, computer, whatever you realizing that those feelings, and then being confident and safe and secure enough that I could go to my community with certain things. I don't go to everybody, but I know them so well where I could go to A, B, or C of a person, and if it's still on me, I can release it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I feel that it's so important for us to have these conversations, for us to know that we are going to constantly continuous from today onwards until we meet our creator.
Yeah.
We are going to be challenged. Our value will be challenged. It's going to be challenged when we're at our highs. It's going to be challenged when we're at our lows. It's going to be challenged when one day your kid actually listens to you and now you don't know what to do. It's like, oh my gosh, they're actually good now. Like, not that they're bad. You know what I mean? All highs or lows, there's always going to be times where you're going to be challenged. The key is to every time you're challenged, go back into that feeling and remember about that. You know why I say the feeling? Because when you're feeling valued and when you feel worthy for yourself, you're going to crave that feeling. My biggest crave is peace. I'm such an anxious person that when I'm in my peace, which I most of the time is also being in my community, believe it or not, having these discussions is my peace. This is my self-care. Actually, wellness is speaking. I am I feel I am confident. I am so valuable to Camille. I'm not going to say my middle name because it says Internet Jones. I feel so confident, and I just want us all to always find whatever works for you that makes you feel safe in a place, and know that you are valued and you are valuable because you are here today.
Yeah.
And that is a gift. And why we call it the present. So we must celebrate it every day and know the key in life is just to be 1% better than you were yesterday. And if that means you're getting up 5%, I mean 5 minutes earlier, or I didn't buy that shiny coin, or Mary got me a line to go and send her what I need to be sent, I'm celebrating it. And so I just wanted to say that one. We are coming down to the almost, I think we have about less than 10 minutes, because coming up next, we are going to have our new Connect and Collab room that we're going to be hosting in the Mom Link business page. We're going to find a way to put the link up there if you're not in, don't have it just as yet. You want to come in here because LinkedIn, you see that little connect button? We're tired of people just clicking it just because it's there. We are all about living life with intention, especially our time in all these social media platforms. So what we are, the Mom Link, we are bringing the true essence of that connect button. We in this room are going to be building genuine, intentional connections. So this is your chance to come up on stage. Everybody's welcome, whether you're part of the Mom Link or not. It's about creating meaningful, intentional connects. You come up on stage, you have your ask, you have your offer, and we are going to align you and connect you. And if you're unable to speak, the best part about being in that room is you're there because of a common interest. So you have a whole mailing list of people that you can now go through their profile and see where you could connect with them. Like you have a list of leads, I should say, rather.
Mhm.
So don't miss up this opportunity by not showing up. You never know. I'm telling you, the day 1 year ago, this time I was walking around in a cloud of fog. And it was until the day I showed up in spaces and places such as MomLink, which was blowing up on Clubhouse at that time, blowing up, big thing. It was like this to me. And I just started saying, you know what? Who are they? I am me. I'm standing up. Let's go.
Mhm.
And I could do it without a bra, which is even better because, oh gosh, when I would sweat, woo!
Aren't you glad the sweating days are over when you got
Yes,
on?
girl. Now
It won't.
you know why I don't sweat anymore, Crystal? Because I love me so much that it's like, meh, I'm gonna talk.
Well, ladies, listen, you know what? Let me recap the 6 tips that we shared today on how to know your worth and claiming your value as a woman, as a female entrepreneur.
So wait,
Number
Crystal,
one,
before we hold on, wait, Crystal, before we do that, I want everybody to get their pen and paper because as we always say in our audio rooms, we are giving you information. So Crystal's going to give you a list. There's no sense of just listening to it without writing it down because when you write it down, it becomes more valid. You can also refer back to it and put notes. So get your pen and paper, put that one, write her one down and leave a little space so that you could do your own homework on yourself and fill it out on what are the steps you're going to do to achieve that tip. All right. This is all about doing the work too, not just learning it. Crystal, let's go.
all right. Tip number one, seek your own validation. Create your own unique set of value system and base your validation, your values on that. Tip number two, show up in spaces, in places, and envision yourself there, even if you can't get there. Make your own room at that table and show up in those spaces that you hope one day to already be in. Show up in them today. Bet on you. Bet on you because nobody will. Bet on you in your business and in your life and do the work, show up, write it down, use your voice. Just like Camille said, be consistent. Bet on you. Tip number four, boundaries. Create healthy boundaries. And when we talked about what those expectations society or relationships put on you, we'll put those boundaries up. So then those expectations become realistic and validate your self-worth and value that you bring to the world. Tip number five, use your voice. Use your voice, have the courage. And when you start to use your voice, you will see how you inspire others and really start to validate your own self-worth and the skills that you bring to this world. And tip number six, we've got to say this because we are all a part of the Mom Link community and we do this together. So surround yourself with women who know your worth, who see your skills, see your value, and when you need it most, they will remind you of that and help you pull out your own resume and remind yourself. This was an incredible conversation. Camille, thank you for pushing this and throwing it to us and saying, ladies, let's do it. We're going to keep coming to you with these women. Let's Talk Corner, having real candid conversations from 3 female entrepreneurs, moms, and 3 women who know how important it is to truly know your value in this world.
Absolutely. And you want to make sure that you're staying tuned because we are bringing this women's Let's Talk About It corner. This is not even going to be. This is the takeover. So you want to be a part of it. We want you to be a part of it too. And we will be having you as a guest on here where you can have an opportunity to come and talk about it. Let's talk about it. Come into our corner. We are not stingy with the exposure. We are all about sharing the wealth of knowledge and building us up as women as a whole. Because one thing that I know for sure, it's not called Mother Nature for nothing. There's a reason why they put mother in front of that nature, because nature is what truly grows this entire world. We all are, the circle of life. And that's what I see us women. We all, when we collectively work together, that's why we are nurturers by nature, because this is our gift and we are reclaiming it and working it together. And super excited. So with that being said, remember that we are having our live, it's going to be back in audio. So it's our Connect and Collab room in the, yes, you gotta love it. In the on the Mom Link LinkedIn page. You're gonna make sure to come on there. It's on LinkedIn. It's happening in about 2 minutes. We also, if you want to get some more information on the Mom Link, you'll get some more in the Connect and Collab room, or you could just message any one of us. And just most importantly, know that your value is so valid. You are valid. You are awesome. You are blessed. You are honored, and you are so loved. And with that, I don't, Mary, if she has anything. This is, what I love about this? See, we're real. We keep it real. The conversations happening. I'm just talking, and we're going to get the next room going. But can't wait to see you all again on the flip side in the Women's Let's Talk About It corner. And until next week, you got this. Let's go. All right. Bye, all.